So, with recent events, you've seen Racing ESports on the rise. You've got a lot of free time and you've managed to convince your other half that this is a good investment to take over the living room with. Now you just need to buy your first steering wheel and pedal set. But which one? With several brands offering various models with prices varying from £90 to over £1,500, which one is going to be best suited to your needs and compatible with your equipment? I'll try to keep things brief so you get a base level of understanding in what you need to get racing. The Saitek R220. It's a wheel and it has pedals. If you turn the wheel left, the car goes left. There's not much more I can say about this wheel, as it lacks any form of force feedback and only has a few on-wheel buttons. CEX will offer you a whole £2 cash for this wheel. I remember I gave mine away to a charity shop. The Thrustmaster T150. My first serious sim racing wheel was a Thrustmaster T150. I owned the Ferrari edition, but both variations are identical. It was only the price point and the local store's availability that led me to choosing the Ferrari model. Often labelled as the best cheap wheel, it makes an ideal first step into sim racing with PlayStation 3, 4 and PC compatibility. What makes it an even more attractive offer is that Gran Turismo Sport has built-in compatibility for the Thrustmaster T150. This isn't a wheel you can just sit on your lap though. It will either need clamping to a desk with the included clamp or screwing down onto a rig such as a play seat or next level gaming seat. My experience with this wheel? I bought mine from Smith's Toy Shop in the UK. This is one advantage Thrustmaster has over their main rival Fanatec, that they're usually available locally, and if there is a problem with the wheel, you can return it to the local store. I paid £130 for my wheel and primarily used it for Gran Turismo Sport, though I did use it for iRacing as well. The force feedback isn't too strong, so the wheel does require a rather light touch, and it's not a wheel that's going to fight you. I remember using the replica Lotus 89T, a 1200 horsepower turbocharged monster of a Formula 1 car which wheel spins out of 4th gear. And coming round the Parabolica at Monza, I got on the gas without traction control a bit early. I had some unexpected wheel spin that really got the car out of shape, and in the next few moments where I instinctively went to correct the oversteer, I just heard a bang and the steering wheel went limp and unresponsive. Thankfully, it wasn't an issue at all to replace the wheel under warranty, and I was supplied with a replacement. No fuss. I maintain it's a great wheel, but you do need to remember it's still more of a toy than a serious piece of simulation equipment. It's built out of plastic, it's light, creaky, and will break if you're heavy-handed. The Fanatec CSL Elite F1. Fortunately, the T150 didn't end up in a charity shop. It, along with the T300, are very sought after in the second-hand market by those looking to get into sim racing on a budget. I sold mine for about £90 after 2 years of ownership, and the wheel is still doing well with its new owner. What I upgraded to is a mid-range simulator piece of kit. Fanatec is a specialist company with a mix and match way of building their simulator setups, meaning you can get a bespoke wheel and pedal set specially designed for the type of racing you do, be it F1, GT, stock car or rally racing, with all their wheels compatible across various base units and pedal sets. I think the CSL Elite F1 is Fanatec's most consumer-friendly model. It's a pre-packaged kit that comes with PlayStation 4 compatibility and official F1 branding. It sometimes comes packaged with the F1 2019 game. Fanatec don't do budget kits though. Where Thrustmaster sell wheels from £90 to £600, Fanatec is a strictly £400 and up affair. What struck me first about using the CSL Elite F1 was just how powerful the force feedback was compared to the T150. If you've got the force feedback settings turned right up to 11, it's a real workout keeping the steering wheel pointing straight and true down the Mulsanne straight. And if you get into a crash, it's very possible the wheel could spin out of your hands, smack you on the wrist and leave you with a nasty bruise. Saying that, the force feedback feels precise and strong, and I feel I can lean into the force feedback through corners with confidence. It's also a fairly heavy duty piece of kit and is often used by teams such as the Williams eSport team for their simulator setups. Largely because of its compatibility with the PS4 for F1 2019 and Gran Turismo Sport, but also for PC sims such as Assetto Corsa and iRacing. The only downside of purchasing a Fanatec is that you have to order the wheel directly from Fanatec. On top of the delivery charge being quite hefty, if you have any problems with the wheel under warranty, I have heard that their customer service is, to put it simply, non-existent. When people ask me which wheel I would recommend though, I point them to the following: the Thrustmaster TSXW and TSPC Racer. This is the Fanatec CSO Elite F1's main rival, and many reviews of these wheels in our direct head-to-head come up as a draw. Their build quality is very similar, as is the strength of their feedback, range of compatibility and amount of on-wheel buttons. I used the Thrustmaster TSXW Racer, which is the Xbox compatible variant, at the Autosport show in the Le Mans eSport arena, which uses Forza 7 for their events. The force feedback did feel very similar in clarity and strength to the Fanatec, and the usual plasticky creaks and squeaks that I'd grown accustomed to with the T150 were absent. One immediate benefit of the Thrustmaster is that if you started with a T80, T150 or a T300, you can hook up the pedals from that wheel to the Thrustmaster TSXW or TSPC Racer, which can make the upgrade less of a strain on the wallet, meaning you can still race and leave the pedals until your next payday. And speaking of pedals, Thrustmaster have recently released their T-LCM pedal set. Now, I used to point serious sim racers towards Fanatec because of their coveted load cell pedal, essentially a brake pedal with a hydraulic piston underneath which offered a real sense of resistance. This means the amount of braking wasn't determined by the amount the pedal had travelled, but by how much pressure you had applied to it. In iRacing, this made the difference between locking up at every corner and being able to brake smoothly. Thrustmaster's T-LCM is their response to that, a pedal set with a load cell brake. I've not tried it yet, but given Thrustmaster's product history, I'd imagine it's going to be good. And if my Fanatec ever gave up the ghost, it'd most likely be a Thrustmaster set I'd go for next. Is there a wheel that I would not recommend? Another popular wheel among sim racers is the Logitech G29 and G920. Whilst it certainly does have its fans and receives generally positive reviews, I only ever hear about this wheel when someone's got a problem with it. It feels like a budget wheel, but it is twice the price of the T150, putting it closer to the T300 in price. And the problem I hear most is that they begin making grinding sounds. You may remember I did a time trial competition video with Charlie Martin. At the time, she had a Logitech G29, and the first thing she said about it was, it makes a strange noise, and at a certain degree of wheel lock, it made a grinding sound. The wheel worked, but it didn't feel like it had much life left. She's since replaced it with a Thrustmaster TGT. Logitech makes some great computer equipment, but they don't have the experience in the sim racing industry that Thrustmaster and Fanatec do, so I'd just avoid it unless you found it for a real bargain. Even then, I'd be tempted to give it a wide berth, because second hand it's likely people will try to sell theirs on as they develop problems. I will say though that it's a very pretty looking wheel with its LED lights and faux leather stitching, which has probably helped with its popularity when compared to the more basic looking Thrustmaster on shop shelves. So, to summarise, got less than £100 to spend? Scour eBay, but more ideally, scour Facebook sim racing buy and sell groups for a pre-owned Thrustmaster. If you've got less than $500 to spend, get a Thrustmaster. Got up to $1,000 to spend? Thrustmaster or a Fanatec. If you've got over £1,000 to spend, I'd be looking at Fanatecs. Of course, there are other smaller bespoke brands out there used by serious career sim racers, but I think the brands that I've mentioned are more applicable to somebody just starting out with their sim racing. Anyway, I hope this video has been useful to you, and I hope to see you in future on the track.